Antwerp. I'm Rob de Kimpe. I am the new content manager for Fintech Belgium. Actually started this month. However, I've been in Fintech for quite a while and even worked together with Fintech Belgium 5 years ago. So it feels a bit like coming home to do an event like this. And thanks to the team for setting this up. It's fun to be here. We have a very full day with a lot of information that's going to come your way, so I'm not going to take too much from your time. We are going to run today through our exclusive matchmaking session together with BNP Paribas Fortis, who are here, who have defined a number of challenges, mostly focused on AI and using AI within the bank. So that's going to be a very exciting topic for all of us to look at and see how you can actually use it in a way in financial services. It's the second edition now of the Antwerp Acceleration Day that we organized together with the city, but I don't want to take too much away from the introduction of our vice chair, Patricia, who will do the welcome words. We will then move into a short keynote around AI by Sailpeak, one of our Fintech Belgium members. And we are very honored and lucky to have the Vice Mayor, Koen Kennis, joining us, who will be introduced by our chairman, Toon van Acht. And then we will look at the details of the reverse pitching session by BNP. We will then have a short coffee break. Depending on how everybody sticks to their timing, the coffee break will be longer or shorter, so that's a good tip for the speakers. And then we will move into the actual pitches. We have 12 companies here today pitching with us, who will do a 5-minute pitch with a 5-minute Q&A. So again, to the people pitching in the audience, stick to your 5 minutes, because if you go over, you have less time for Q&A. I was told to be a very harsh moderator, so I will put an alarm clock and I will start pushing you if you don't keep to your time. And then, of course, we have time for a networking lunch after. The pitches this afternoon after the coffee break, are divided into 4 challenges. One around KYC automation, one around credit origination, one around agentic RAG, and one around mail routing. And we will put this back up when we go to the slides. I want to welcome Patricia Boyden, who is our vice chairperson at Fintech Belgium, to share with you all her words.
Thank you. Yes, and thank you for the kind introduction. And indeed, we already go along a way back for quite some years in the fintech scene. And I'm here today to welcome you, of course, on this second Antwerp Acceleration Day. And the reason why I'm so happy and stand here to welcome you is, of course, this is my hometown, and therefore I'm very happy that we are gathered here today, because of course Brussels isn't the only center in Belgium or in the world of the financial services industry. And again, like we did on the first edition last year at Argenta Bank, today we also will very much show and tell that here in Antwerp we have some vibrant fintech community as well. And very unfortunate that my, let's say, fellow board member, Johannes Vermeijeren from POM, couldn't make it here today, but the both of us, being also Antwerp, being that's our home base, the both of us, we supported this, and it is not only a bit on our, let's say, initiative as board members, but on top, I really would like to thank again the city of Antwerp for their continuous trust and their continuous support also to make this happen. And as you can see, today we are here in the Beacon, and the Beacon is also supported by the city of Antwerp. And the Beacon is this, it's not only this office space, but it's also a very vibrant community to support innovation, to support collaboration, of course, and to find solutions where technology, of course, can help to solve all kind of, let's say, problem statements within the city, of course, very nearby, within the port and within the broader economy. So maybe let's get back to the topic of today, new technology, AI, and a bit more specific AI agents. That's what we're gonna hear all about today. So I wish you all a very, very inspiring morning, and I do hope that everybody gets back home with a lot of new connections, a lot of inspiration and new ideas, and of course, I would really love, and everybody will love it in this room. I think that it can really contribute to our Antwerp community, but also to our society in the whole. So, wish you a very interesting morning. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Patricia. Like I said, and Patricia also echoed, the topic for today, we're going to look at AI and using AI in financial services. And we can hardly start today talking about AI without using one of our members who is a specialist in AI to come here and present their keynote about how agentic AI can transform financial services. So I'm very happy to give the floor to Antonio Giordano, who is the AI product manager at SailPeak.
Yes, exactly. Thanks. Recognize the device. All right. All right. Hi, everyone. So today we're going to talk about agentic AI. And we try to answer that question. How agentic AI will transform financial services? Well, before we start, maybe one question. Who has already heard about agentic AI here in the room? Raise your hand. Okay. Quite good level. All right. Who has ever used an LLM like Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT, DeepSeek maybe? Okay. Another question. Who has ever used those tools to send a very diplomatic email or message to a very annoying colleague or family member? Yeah, it's for research. It's just for research. All right. Hi, everyone. So I'm Antonio. I'm a AI and product nerd. I worked the last 10 years in tech as a automation engineer, web developer, and product manager. I'm now a AI product manager at SailPeak. And if you don't know them, you probably have read already their AI barometer. Next edition will be released this year. All right. That was for the product placement. That's done. Now we can start the presentation. Do you know those faces? Yes. All right. Those guys are the co-founders of Revolut. We have Vlad and Nikolai. Nikolai was a swimmer in Russia before becoming a Lehman Brothers trader. And Vlad was a developer designing financial systems at UBS and Deutsche Bank. And those guys were both in the financial industry. So we could see all the things that was wrong in banking. And so this is actually how innovation happens. It's not about being like an entrepreneur, with a vision, a visionary entrepreneur. It's to be at the right time, at the right moment, with the right perspective to see things coming. And so in 2015, they gathered together and they asked themselves, what if we could reimagine everything in banking? So fast forward 8 years later, they are now running a company worth $33 billion, serving 25 million customers worldwide. And they actually did that with 5,000 employees. So today, we are at the same point we were in the early 90s, where the internet started to emerge, where people were still thinking, what's the internet? Why do I need a website? Why do I need an email for? Today, as Revolut did challenge banking and challenge the idea of what bank can do, AI agents are challenging our understanding of banking service. Another face. Do you know that guy? Yes, it's written on the slide. Well, Sam Altman made a bet, I think it was last year. He made a prediction, and he said, we bet that in the next 5 years, we'll see the first one-person unicorn. So that means one person running a company worth 1 billion with an AI army, AI agent army doing all the work for him. And companies are already selling those kind of agents, right? Maybe you've seen Artisan. They made like kind of a very provocative advertisements campaign in the US to sell AI agents and say, okay, you can hire AI agents and stop hiring humans. They do a better job. So if you combine those kind of agents with banking API or regulatory API, would that mean that we will create the first one-person bank? Now let's have a look at how technology have transformed industries over time. We've seen that actually every 15 years, there's a new platform shift that sets the tech industry. We've seen the mainframes, then we've seen the PCs coming, then the web, then from the web to mobile. And each time there is a shift, it changed how we interact with technology and how we do business. And today, we are seeing a similar shift with generative AI. And we've seen that in banking, right? The mainframe gave us the first digital banking record. Then we've seen the PC that brought software banking to branches. Then we see the web that brings us online banking, and the mobile and the smartphones that give us birth to Revolut. And today, we are talking about the AI-first banking. This is the new emergence. So it's not about creating the better app or best website or the better banking app anymore. It's about rethinking the entire banking way of doing things with intelligent AI embedded. And what we've seen so far is that actually this is a bit different because this time with AI, the pace of adoption is very accelerated. You know, we've seen it, the evolution of AI is evolving at a pace we've never seen before. So this is different. So we can say, where are we going with all of this? Well, OpenAI has outlined 5 levels of AI. The conversational AI, this is where we are today. So think of it of chatbots and virtual assistants that can handle basic customer queries. This is where we are. Then you have level 2. This is reasoning AI. This is where AI can resolve complex problems and understand what you say. And then we have the level 3, which is the autonomous AI. And this is where it gets interesting. This is where we start talking about AI agents and agentic system, because it can do things independently of human interventions. Then we have level 4, the innovating AI. This is where AI can improve itself. It can challenge itself. It can redesign the banking process. It can create a financial product by itself. It can check and see opportunities on the market that human might have skipped. And then level 5, the ultimate level, organizational AI. This is where AI can run entire banking functions by itself and can also collaborate with other AI agents. And we can have this ecosystem that runs an entire organization. Might take from 10 to 50 years, according to experts who are not yet there, but this is the roadmap, and we see where we are heading. 2 questions. What's your AI strategy, and how are you preparing for this shift? So now we see where we are heading with AI. Let's check what's making waves, what's making the noise today. Well, look at these articles from the New York Times to Wall Street Journal and Forbes. They are all talking about, to get it, agentic AI. Everybody says that 2025 is the agentic AI year. Everybody is super optimistic. Everybody is like, yeah, we have a lot of opportunities. We can do everything. Word is there. But if you look at the AI Gartner hype cycle, while we see that agentic AI is a little before the peak. So we might see a lot of news, a lot of things in the upcoming months about agentic AI. But look what's right after. It's the disillusion phase, right? And this is where hard work happens. This is where we have to deliver practical value with sweat, blood, and tears to make sure that we deliver the promise that we made with all this hype. It's not a question about should I or not invest in agentic AI. It's about how fast we can move from this hype to real practical use case. So what's different with agentic AI? What's different from the other AI? Well, if you take the classic AI or the classic machine learning AI, where we actually feed with data, and then you test, and then you say, okay, we're going to do prediction. So, for example, with fraud detection, we can say, okay, is this transaction fraudulent? Yes, no. You flag it as yes or no. With generative AI, this is where you give a prompt and get a text, a video, an image, or even code. Now with agentic AI, what's different is that this time, it's not about doing prediction or generating content. It's about making things happen. So they can do things. Agentic AI, they have a goal. They can make plans based on the data they have. They do take actions to achieve that goal, and they can even reflect on their actions, on the outcome. And they can say, oh, this was a good action or bad actions. I can actually adapt the approach. This is why it's so different. So what it makes truly agentic, well, 5 key characteristics. The first, the autonomy, because it operates independently, right, without human intervention. Goal-oriented, it has a goal, as we mentioned. Decision-making, it can make decision by itself and can even predict the potential outcome of it. Adaptability, because it can learn from past experience and adjust the approach, as we said. And you have also multi-step execution, because it can make plan and very complex plan with multi-steps. You can have like several steps to achieve the goal. So you might seem, okay, this is very far, but actually it's not. It's already happening in today's lives. You probably know Tesla or Waymo from Google. Those autonomous vehicles are AI agents, actually. They can understand their environment. They can see what's there. They have a goal, which is to transport passengers to their destination in a safe way. And they can interact and adapt their behaviors. Not only happening in transportation. Today's companies like Intercom, and our leader, position themselves already as an AI-first customer service platform. That's very interesting because it's not written AI-powered customer service. It's written AI-first customer service. They don't just put like an AI feature on top of the service and say, oh yeah, we are an AI company now. They completely reimagine what a customer service can be. And this is why it's AI-first and not AI-powered. More recently, this is a picture that we shamelessly took from a Belgian bank a few weeks ago. And actually, that's interesting here to see the first thing, which is nowadays we're talking about the orchestration and the collaboration between humans and AI agents. So here you can see that we have 3 layers. The first is the human experts. Then you have the second layer, which is the classical AI that you train with your own data. And then the RAG layer. So interesting to see that the human stays in the loop. And this is why it's important to think that the human stays here, just to be honest. A client doesn't care if it's a bot or an agent that will process the file. But he will care that there is always a human overseeing this process. Because at the end of the day, banking is all about trust. So agentic AI will enter all core processes in financial institutions. And this will bring a lot of challenges. And we need to pay attention to all those challenges. yeah, for decades, science fiction warned us about, AI going wrong. So it might seem a bit dramatic, but actually, there are still things that are relevant for the challenges we might face about the bias, the transparency. If you train the data that has been from the past, you can have historical biases in those data, and you can amplify these biases. The energy consumption is also an issue. The accountability. If they can make decisions and if they are autonomous, then who's responsible for a decision? The transparency. How do you make sure that they are, not off rails, that they stay in certain boundaries? So you might have a lot of co-pilots, but you still need pilots in the common, right? Even nowadays, planes can do everything by themselves. So you basically don't need humans, but you still need them to have judgment for critical moments or for very important decisions. And for also human interaction, because at the end, humans are the ultimate accountability. So this is why you need to think about the place of the human at the beginning, at the foundation of every AI agentic transformation. You need to think about the place, of the human. There is this quote that I really like. It's even on my resume. Use technology and love people, because the opposite never works. And that's what we want to hear. And it's to really think about the user centricity, the end user that will use, the user that will use this, and also the workers that will use these agents. And this is why you already have this EU AI Act, right? That mentions already agentic AI and AI agents. Will it be sufficient to answer all those challenges, all the questions? Well, we might have the need of the AI Act to answer all those questions. So the last question for today: who are the real bankers nowadays? All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Q&A.
Are there questions from people in the audience or general comments based on the current presentation? Thank you very much, by the way. Or is everybody too shy to speak in a group this big at the moment? No questions? Yes.
Maybe I have one. It's a very bold statement to have this one-person unicorn, and you just finished your speech, of course, with the message. Keep, of course, the human in the loop, and tech is only at service of, of course, what your goal is. So I don't see that actual possible to run a bank with just one person. If you know a bank, regulated, all these different, let's say, also regulatory obligations you need to comply to and so on. Run a bank with only one person and the rest supported by AI? How do you see that?
Yeah, that was a very provocative question, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's doable, right? I think this might apply more to creator economy, things like that. I think in banking, not going to be really possible, right? More shake, right?
Yeah, I think the National Bank of Belgium would be very weird if you had only one person.
Yeah.
Thank you. Another question?
Yeah, you were mentioning the AI Act, but how ready is the AI Act for this kind of technology?
Yeah.
The agents.
Yes, good question, because you asked the questions, and actually we asked, okay, what should we do? And there is a few actually answers from this act, so we'll need to check that. Yeah, a very good question. Yeah.
Any other questions? No. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you
very much.
Thanks.
Okay, we're going to switch the timing around a little bit. If the people from BNP would oblige, then it would be good to look at the reversed pitch and what we're going to look at with the pitches later, and then we will make some time for the Vice Mayor to welcome everybody afterwards. Okay? Yes? Great. I don't know who of are you. I think there is no introductory slide.
So,
yeah,
we'll make a short introduction. Then we are from BNP Paribas Fortis, an entity of BNP Group, and we are working in the Tribe EI, led by Anthony Belter. And the Tribe EI is like a scale-up inside BNP Paribas Fortis to diffuse EI in the bank and to use those technology to be great, and you will see. Then me there, I'm the chief data scientist, and I have a transversal role across the different squads that are in this tribe, and I'm there for make the development part of the data scientist, and to be sure that the science that we use are done correctly, and to be sure that the model that we develop act as what we want with the risk that we want to take. And with me, Analesh Vemulai is the technical lead in the tribe for all about generative AI. And voilà. And then we'll show you what we do. Then maybe, I don't know where it's there. Then today we will present what first the GenAI impact for the bank, or we envision it. What we think about AI agent, but I think Antonio has said already quite a lot on that. And then Amadesh will present 4 use cases that we have envisioned also, and but we are open to more, but those ones are on our radar. Then for us, GenAI, it's really a game changer. And like the Revolut guy or other, for us, what is the more important is the client experience. We think that with GenAI, and we're convinced, and we know it, that we can really enhance the customer interaction and satisfaction, especially for the retail world when we do need to do mass personalization. It's an oxymoron, but we cannot handle all the customer by people in the branch. You know, the number of employees in the bank are reduced in time, and then with those technology, we can have a really personalization of communication, of understanding of a customer to better serve them. That for us, it's really important. But also we want to augment our employee with this technology to boosting efficiency, but also easing their life. If you have a guy that needs to read the stuff, but something there that's not so nice, but with GenAI, he can speed up his process, he can make great stuff. And for us, like the founder of like San Altan or Carpatio, the people were in GenAI, they say, you know, GenAI is the most game changer that will boost the creativity of the people. And with this, we can create new businesses. We can really do a lot of stuff that you cannot do before. If you want to do a drawing, it's fantastic. If you want to understand something, and if you want to use the reasoning part of your LLM to do agent, that's great. Then we can really use those new technology to improve a lot of stuff, and it just at your fingerprint. Then there will be a lot of startup fintech that will use this, and they will do, like, I hope for you, the revolution of Revolut, but we'll see. And by doing those embedded into the bank, we will create a lot of share value for our stakeholders and increase the return. Then how we see AI agent vision. For us, the first step is identify use case. And for each use case to make, in the bank, we need to do a business case to say if it's worth for going there, and what is the value, what is at stake. And then we will deploy the agent, and we use, like Antonio said, the reflect and act of this agent, that we have some autonomy. They can reflect of what they do to improve. Then it's like we see on the I don't know if it was Times Square or whatever, we have agent to automate simple tasks that humans don't like to do anyway, but that we can really have our agent do it and see if it is correct by putting also guardrail and a lot of stuff. Then when it is okay, we will automate, but we will still keep a human oversight, like you say. We will not let the agent manage the money of the Belgium? No, no, for sure. And this to improve our efficiency. Now I give the floor to Amanesh to present.
Good morning, everyone. So as Manu mentioned, like identifying use cases was the first step that we have done. We have actually recognized quite a lot of use cases and kind of filtered out to 4 main use cases that we kind of see quite a lot of leverage that we can do with AI agents and also workflows, I can say. So to start with, how we can transform banking with AI agents. So that's like quite provocative, I can say, but again, like here, we would like to also see that how we can actually apply AI agents to in terms of each of these use cases. So to start with, like it's KYC enhancement. So here we see that there are a lot of, as Manu mentioned, like there are so many simple processes that we can automate and also kind of make sure that we can improve KYC enhancement quite significantly inside the bank, right from document processing, risk profiling, I can say, and also dynamic updates of the customer through time, etc. And then credit origination. So here we would like to also concentrate on both customer experience and also our colleagues to actually help process the steps of credit origination as fast as possible. So and then agentic RAG, as we all know, like we would like to improve chatbots as much as possible inside the bank. And we see in the market, like we can see that customers' expectations is also increasing quite a lot because of whatever the market is doing. They're also expecting the chatbots of the bank and also inside the employees too, because they can't use, of course, ChatGPT or something like that inside the bank. So we also have to improve the chatbots right from the scratch, from using open source models to improve chatbots inside the bank. And then it's mail routing. So here, I think there is much more possibility of improving the process by email classification, and even like for customers to actually get dynamic updates in terms of where the case is actually going towards, and also making sure that it is classified to the particular department that actually the case belongs to. So here we also see that quite a lot of AI agents that can really improve the process of mail routing. So to jump into more what KYC enhancement procedures are. So here we kind of imagine like we can have workflows inside KYC processes where we can see that step by step that we can improve by using AI agents. So first we see that in data collection, we see that there is a lot of maturity, I can say, because we already have a good OCR technologies inside the bank that we are using that can be also automated by using AI agents at the backend. And then for risk profiling, as regulatory frameworks are quite stagnant, and also make sure that we can also automate risk profiling and also dynamic updates if there are behavioral changes, and also like if there are any customer improvements that is done in terms of what membership that they are in, etc., can also be improved quite significantly in the KYC enhancement. And then we want to have human in the loop for sure, because as a bank, we would like to make sure that each process as NPB comes into the picture, if you are not making sure that human in the loop is not in the picture. But also like this as a whole, we want to improve efficiency of KYC enhancement. And then it's credit origination. Here, first we'll like to tackle, of course, more of the customer experience, where we want to simplify the process for customer from document upload to getting the credit for their at the end. And then on the colleague side, I can say like we can improve task management of each of the procedure that can be done in credit origination, and also having human in the loop, and also getting into cyclic and dynamic workflows for getting updates with the task, what is happening, and to make sure that the credit origination process will be as smooth as possible. And then agentic RAG, as we all know that we want to improve these chatbots, make it more personalized, and also increase contextual understanding, custom responses for the customers, for making sure that each of the customer will get their own personal replies, and make sure that to improve the trust, we also want to have the references of where that particular information is coming from, even though it's a chatbot, but we want to also have improve the trust because as hallucinations is also one of the key factors that we want to decrease. And with the market that is improving with reasoning and everything, we want to make sure that we also integrate into the chatbots to make sure that we have the similar experience that market is feeling with the chatbots that we are developing in the bank. And then it's mail routing. So here we see that to start with, it's email classification that we can use function calling. I don't know if you know, but yeah, these are the LLM function calling that we can use for email classification, and then dynamic routing to which department that particular mail belongs to, and then also give a customer a reply in terms of what procedure that is going on inside the bank for their case that is going on, and also compliance flagging if there is any. And for more of an ambiguous cases, then human has to be reviewing the particular procedure, and then automated responses to the customer. So this is more of the workflow that we are looking into, but we are open towards like whatever the solution that we can actually improve the efficiency of these processes. And we strongly believe that future is agentic for sure. But also making sure that human in the loop in the picture. And it's not that at the end we want to increase the productivity of the employees, and also make sure that customer have the best experience as possible, as much as possible, as of what Revolut is saying. But yeah, any questions? And thank you.
So we have the floor open for questions. Obviously, there will be questions after the pitches as well. But you have two people here from one of the biggest banks in Belgium, if not the biggest, I don't know, the biggest. Well, there we go. So if there's anybody who has questions about, there we go. Ladies first, I would say.
I'm sure that you have KPIs and you're measuring which kind of projects, the efficiency improvement, etc. on KYC enhancement. So, for instance, have you seen what are the percentage that the human intervention has been reduced thanks to the AI and the enhancement of the process?
For now, we don't have automate everything. For all the use case, we have already, we will say, standard AI in place, and we want to jump to generative AI. We know that this process is time consuming, and in the branch they need to check a lot of stuff, and then we will augment the employee by bringing to them really all the information they need for doing it, but it's not yet in place. All that we present is we are more like also a startup on that, on the agentic in the bank, to try to put this technology at the service of the bank. And this is use case where we think they will make the most sense. We don't have make already the business case to say, okay, what amount of FTE reduction time we will have and how many money it will bring. That is not yet done, but we believe a lot that there is a big cake of value to create.
Also, we already seen like we can draw parallels with AML, because KYC is also similar to AML, that we kind of significantly improve by using traditional AI itself, like by making sure that we risk score customers and make sure that we have AML processes in place to increase the efficiency of investigators, mainly if I can talk about. And parallelly, I see that with using of Gen AI and things like that, we can really improve quite significantly the process time of a KYC procedure, because I think that significant number of people who are working in in the bank falls on the KYC processes, and we can see a significant improvement of productivity with how many million customers that we have interest. Yeah. Thank you.
There was another question. Yes. Maybe speak up if you can for the people in the back.
Yeah. So the subject of today is an acceleration day, and technology innovation seems to accelerate ever more. And you are in a regulated context. There's lots of checks and balances in place. By when do you think you'll be able to put these agentic agents in front of customers of the bank?
For first, we will try on our internal processes and with our employee to see how it works. And then when we master it and we show that the risk is minimized, or that we can be sure of the solution, we will go. We don't do like the French government that launched the chatbot and then bound 2 days after. I think that would be not a smart move for us. Then first we will try by us, try to have people test. We also do what we call red teaming, meaning we really have people that we try to hack the system before we will release, but then employee, red teaming, then when we're sure that everything is going to the customer, some part, maybe more to the young people, whatever, I don't know, and then going step by step by learning and because we don't want to have bad reputation with for this boom, no. That's and it's why we try to put in all that what we say evaluation to know how it goes from the beginning of the step to the end, to just monitor the improving and what the problem we face. Every time you change something, we do like you do unit tests in software development, but there we pass all those tests to see if the little change make that everything is safe. That's our vision. Yeah.
And I think that mainly when we are facing customers, I think that managing expectations is quite key. I think so. And also from the customer side, I think we don't have, I mean, like the expectations are not like we significantly improve the procedures, like from 80%, faster time or something like that. But I think managing expectations by going step by step, probably even increasing 10% in terms of processing time, but making sure human in the back. I believe that having this smooth transition is super important. Probably when we use AI agents, probably you don't even know that there is AI agents in the back. Probably that kind of a customer experience must be there on the customer side. As the bank risks are much more important and not to be pragmatic from being young to I'm more of an aggressive approach, but I think that in the bank you have to also be more calculative to make sure that for the customer it is much more smoother for the transition perspective when we are using AI agents or something like that. Yes.
And I think it's very impressive to see that as the bank you're putting the customer first with this, because it could be customer first. Yes, let's quickly roll something out, but no, let's make the experience good. I don't know if everybody saw, but in the UK for the moment, Virgin Money is a little bit under attack because they launched their chatbot, and then the problem was that the person said, "I have my account with Virgin," and they said, "Well, if you keep talking with these kinds of words, we're not going to talk to you anymore." Their own branding was a little bit of an issue. We'll do one last question, and then we will go to the next session. Yes?
When you talk about human oversight, do you mean that they will be exposed, controlled by a human, or will the bank be prepared to let the AI agent make a decision? For instance, for KYC, will you allow the AI agent to approve a certain customer, or will this always be checked by a human before this decision is taken? And if not, how do you see this under, AI Act is important, but how do you see this under civil law? If the AI agent is taking the decision on approving a client or a customer, who will be responsible?
Then there is quite a lot of questions that I will answer to that. First, what we will do with the human oversight is we create application when in the processes, okay, when there is not a decision but a flagging of extracting information, saying that, we can bring back all this information for your human. For what it is mandatory, regulatory, and what is really important, there will be a human that receives all this information with everything that was extracted, show everything, it just can validate one step. Also, by instead for anti-money laundering, what we will do, we will not say this one is really a bit, but we can say for those one, don't look at them because we are sure they are not a problem. And for the other one, we go put a human in the loop to do it. Except if at the end, I don't know, you have, like 100% sure that you're right, but probability, you never have 100%, but you want to take a risk, then you have to see with the AI Act, if you take automated decisions, or with GDPR, especially for customers, then you need to be transparent, to have a consent, and so on. If it is for fraud detection, and you can block the fraud like that, then it can fly, then depending on the business and what you do, but more it is important, and with regulation, more there will be human in the loop for sure. when it is really a stuff that you need to act like this, it is very important. Sometimes you don't have the time to call a human. That's
adding to what Manu said, like I think that we will have a mix of having traditional approaches with Gen AI. I think so. Like what we have done previously, like let's say like if there are any false positives, we do those calculations in terms of making sure that if there are no false positives, then we kind of move forward with threshold tunings. Like we have done similar approaches like back then in the day, like for AML, let's say, where we do scenarios where there is a threshold. If that doesn't, like AI is not confident to a particular threshold, then we probably have human oversight. And of course, for that to make sure too, like we will have a significant chunk of time where we kind of check by evaluating if that particular AI system is actually being so efficient in order not to provide any true positives missing. So that's what the most important is. So false negatives. So, but yeah, to make sure that these processes can be automated. So yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Catherine. So now we know the challenges we're looking at together with BNP Paribas Fortis after the break. But I would like to introduce you, if you don't know him yet, but you might already, to our chairperson of the board, Toon Bach.
Thank you for the introduction. As you know, we're a grassroots membership organization. So I'm both a fintech entrepreneur, you will see me later on pitching, and the chair. So this also means to the new members, please, we need fresh blood in our board. It's never too late to join us and help us grow Fintech Belgium. Now, having the pleasure to open this nice event in Antwerp, we have the Vice Mayor of Antwerp that will do the formal opening address, Koen Kennis. As you probably know, the mayor is busy to try to make the country run and get a federal government. And the vice mayor, in the meantime of the past months, has been pretty much running the city. So with that, I would like to invite Koen Kennis on stage to enlighten us on why we're in this great city to accelerate fintech. Koen Kennis, thank you. Thank you very much.
I create some place. Of course, that's okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome in Antwerp. As Vice Mayor in charge of finance, I welcome you all to the city of Antwerp and to the cradle of innovation in our city, the Beacon. Our city has a long tradition in innovation. In the Middle Ages, Antwerp was an important member of the Hanse League, a network of trading cities in Northern Europe. Its favorable location on the River Scheldt made Antwerp a crucial port, leading to innovations in shipping and logistics. And in the 16th century, that was Antwerp's golden age, this city was the financial and commercial center of Europe. The Antwerp Stock Exchange was the world's first indoor stock exchange, a forerunner of modern financial markets. I only can tell you to visit surely the building here in the city. Now you're here, you have to visit it. You will see that it was also the example for instance, the London Stock Exchange. In this way, you could say, as forerunner of modern financial markets, in this way you could go on and on about the links between innovation, economy, finances, and the city of Antwerp. We owe it to ourselves to honor, of course, that tradition. So a warm welcome to the members of Fintech Belgium, the staff of BNP Paribas, Fortis, and other banks, and all of those interested in fintech. A warm welcome to you. You are in the right place here in Antwerp and in the Beacon. Finance, ladies and gentlemen, is the foundation of everything. You will not be surprised to hear me say that as the Vice Mayor responsible for cities finance. Over the last two periods, we have achieved spectacular debt reduction and combined it with solid investments. This means we are now on an historic point. We virtually don't have any debt anymore. So it's only 14 euro per capita, to give you an idea. We must continue to handle, of course, our finances smartly in order to invest in the future of all the Antwerp citizens. Keeping finances in order is and remains, of course, always the challenge. With finances in order, one can only dream. Without finances in order, one can only dream. With finances in order, you can also realize that dream. Both from my capacity as Vice Mayor responsible for finances, but also as Chairman of PMV, I look at fintech with a big admiration. After all, fintech innovations have incredible disruptive potential. They can offer more efficient, accessible, and customer-centric solutions. That disruption is driven for technological edge in blockchain, artificial intelligence, and big data analytics, among others, of course, which allow them to develop new business models and streamline processes. As a city, we can learn of that. And as a city, we need also that sort of innovation to improve also our financial processes. Whereas risk-taking and willingness to put large sums on the table is an obvious thing to do in the United States, in America, for example, it's much less so in Europe. Risk aversion, therefore, curtails our innovation potential or causes potentially successful companies to resort to foreign capital and thus come to plunder our innovation. We need to reverse this evolution. Finances, a healthy economy, and innovation go hand in hand. And the hand is, as you know, the symbol of our city. The city nurtures a great admiration for startups and scale-ups that have the courage and perseverance to start and to persevere on their own journey, despite all possible obstacles along the way. Apart from our startups and scale-ups, we are, of course, immensely proud of our established economic players. For generations, they ensure a strong economy, employment, international charisma. In short, they help us to be a strong city. From the city's perspective, we see great added value in this event where startups and scale-ups connect, network, and connect together with established values. Both are needed to further grow and strengthen our economy, to make our economy future-proof. The success of a fintech company is inextricably linked to the expertise, vision, and decisiveness of its founders, of its board members, of the people who work there. In this sense, today's matchmaking event is a unique opportunity for the young companies to showcase their potential to the banking and insurance world and give them the opportunity to scale up further, which can lead to a win-win for all parties and, who knows, to unicorns. I wish it for you and for us. I would therefore like to thank the organizer of this event, Fintech Belgium, for this day on which all attendees have the opportunity to unlock innovative solutions, to expand their network, and to empower the local ecosystem. Like our Mayor, Bert de Wever, always says, and I repeat it also in this speech, Antwerp is open for business, and Antwerp is surely open for innovative fintech business. Be welcome and have a good and a successful day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vice Mayor. And thank you, of course, for the partnership with the City of Antwerp that makes this event possible for the second time in 2 years now.
It's with pleasure.
Thank you very much. Great. We are ready for the next part, which is, I think, the coffee break. Instead of having only 20 minutes, you now have 25 minutes. So that's a 5-minute profit on your coffee break. Use it well, use it to network. We will start again at 10:50, and we will try and keep the pace to make sure that we are on time. Thank you very much.
Yes.
I'm not going to spend a lot of time introducing. I'm assuming each speaker will introduce themselves. For now, let's start with safe transactions. In the first challenge, the KYC automation. Let's go. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Sulzbacher, and I want to introduce I'm from Safe Transactions. I want to introduce Rolo, a disruptive way to change the approach of transaction testing. Check with Rolo, you'll understand what it's all about as I go along. First of all, as Rory Levine, the founder of Waze, said, fall in love with the problem, not the solution. So what is the problem? You've got a lot of pains in banks, as you know better than me, but you've got too many, not just false positives, but true positives. You want to get rid of those. You've got to issue too many suspicious activity reports. Most 90% of them don't even get looked at. But if you don't issue it, the MBB will penalize you. You've got instant payments coming up. You won't be able to screen transactions in 10 seconds. You've got full liability fraud, unlike the UK, where it's split between the sending and the receiving bank. You're spending a fortune on KYC and CDD, and very honestly, you're failing because, according to Europol, 90% of criminal funds are still going through the banks. Pains for customers, especially corporate customers, were fed up with delayed and cancelled transactions, frozen accounts, more and more KYC demands, and when you do trade, all documentation you've got to provide. So there's lack of protection with instant payments, and when there is a problem, the banks are very slow at contacting the customers. So what is our solution? Rolo's on the lookout, fair enough. There will be an ERP add-on for large accounting systems, but most people will be working with an embedded button in their app. Before you click on send or pay or whatever it is, you'll be able to send it off for testing. You'll check your transaction, you'll then get a report. We won't be limited by 10 seconds, so there are more problems, we can deal with it. There'll also be parallel testing and triple testing to get rid of AI hallucinations. You'll get a report. If you want more information, if it's a low-level problem, you can find out. And then you go back to the banking app. We're not a payment initiation service provider. And in the background, we'll be looking at your accounts to see if there's any irregular activity and notifying you quicker than the bank will. What is our technology? We're a meta system based on a whole series of rules-based and AI platforms. And we'll be building risk profiling of customers using a whole lot of different criteria. It's not just one number at the end of the day. So we're looking at financial, behavioral, social, and vulnerability and things like that. But as I mentioned, retesting to prevent the hallucinations. We will have AISP licenses in the EU and the UK, other jurisdictions, and we're going to be doing a very enhanced KYC using geobehavioral technologies for enhanced fraud detection. What are the benefits? Well, if you've got a big reduction in true and false positives coming to your bank, then there's less work for your compliance and transaction monitoring team, which means that when the NBB comes to audit you, you've got a much cleaner data set, so your audit will be much quicker. And there's less chance of getting a penalty. You've got to issue less SARs to the CTIF. They'll be happy as well. And then with fraud, you're going to have less payouts on fraud. Today, fraud costs about 4 cents per transaction in a bank, just to give you an idea how heavy it is. Also with DORA, you've got 36 hours after a serious event to get everything up and running. You won't have time to get your transaction screening working. And with instant payments, like I mentioned, you won't have time for screening. You're just going to do some American sanction testing because you're going to have to do that. But if the transaction has been tested before and you don't run that risk on the instant payments, and best part is, you'll be able to make some money out of us as well. You'll be a new revenue earner for banks. The team, there's myself, I've been in electronic banking for 5 years, or with Cuprot, so he's head of cyber and risk at Euroclear. You've got top people, we're going to be working with Amatec, who one of the leading AI and fintech accelerators. As I mentioned, licenses, we've done our proof of concept, we're working on the MVP. ERP add-on should be ready before the end of Q2. We've done a bit of fundraising last year, doing another round now. Strong interest in VCs. There's been a lot of legal work, as I'm sure you can imagine, with ethical issues and guardrails, etc., etc. We've been using Joanne from who's on the board of Fintech Belgium. We've got use cases and impact studies, and we are the first in the world to be user-centric when it comes to transaction testing, which makes us first to market. And then the banks which will take us will be the first ones that will give you an edge on all the other banks, especially for the legacy banks who don't have the advantages of some of the neobanks. So roll out, reduce risk, and earn money with safe transactions.
That was impressive. That's almost on the dot, 5 minutes.
I tried it 20 times.
Very good. Let's see if there's any questions from the team from BNP. Just if you can, maybe stand up and ask them loudly because we have people in the back of the room as well. Any questions on your side?
Yeah, for the transaction screening, the business model, to better understand, it's an app that will verify the transaction on a user-centric way, but then it's meant for the people who need to investigate, to have it, to do it.
The customer will get it back. So I'll give you an example. You have to send 100,000 euros to Notaris to buy your apartment.
Okay, that's the customer.
Then you'll get a whole list. These are the documents which you should show. If you've got to send money to a supplier in Pakistan, these are the documents you should have ready because your bank is going to cause you trouble. In which case then, instead of playing cat and mouse with your banker for 2 weeks, it's going to be a 2-day story and everything's there.
Okay.
And if you're just going to book a vacation in the Bahamas and you're sending 10,000 over for the rental, they'll tell you, be careful, speak to the bank first, get the documentation ready, rather than your bank account is frozen because they think it's money laundering.
Okay.
Additional questions?
Yeah, one other point I would like to make. Don't even think about doing it yourselves, because you're not allowed to. Because if it is an illegal payment which is being tested, you've got to disconnect from the customer. We don't, because we don't process payments.
And how are you tackling the false positives, maybe in terms of, because the current procedures in AML, we are using traditional AI, and also the procedure.
You won't get them. Those transactions just won't come to you. We will tell the customer there is a problem. Don't do it before speaking to your accountant, your lawyer, your banker. You won't get them in the first place. And more than that, we'll be working on false negatives, because when the system is quiet, we'll go and double test all those things from the clustering using AI there in order to find the false negatives, which cause more of a problem for you.
Thank you. Any more questions from the team? Then are there any questions from the audience? Well, okay. It was 5 minutes and very clear. That was so. Thank you very much. So we will move on with our next speaker in the session, who you have seen, but who has switched hats.
Yes, now I'm wearing the hat of the Fintech entrepreneur. I don't know when the 5 minutes starts. On my side, so I'm the co-founder of Data.be. I will be standing on each side. Chris is the chief data scientist, and we will now start our pitch on smart compliance with AI agents. Now, we've been doing this for a long time. Our entire team, we've been in this business for over 10 years. So my co-founder has been in AI for over 20 years. And so what we do at the basis, and we've done since the start in 2012, is we structure all the authentic Belgian government sources and company data. So Belgisch Staatsbank, Monitor Belge, KBO, the Nationale Bank, the Balance Centrale, the employment records, the faillissement, the bankruptcies, and so on. So we have all this data has been pre-processed through OCR, and we provide this after we did all the entity extraction and the structuring in APIs and sites. So that's how we've been working for a long time. Now, what we've added on top of that, and I will let you.
So we had the LLM and generative AI in the loop, because as I said, we started that more than 12 years ago. So the previous step was traditional AI. So now instead of just extracting entities and structuring everything, we added agents to grab other sources, to improve the OCR, to improve the automated processing, what's need to be double checked. We need reasoning as well to see we have rules, but what is the last one? So extracting entity is not enough. Knowing what is the one that is current and understanding the bylaws is one step further, and that we can do with agents. And so instead of just extracting the entities, we can add stuff. We can do sectionage check and add new sources faster. We could do an automatic reach out to a customer for confirmation because we found a delta, which we're not doing before, that is not understandable, it's not uncollectible. So please, can you confirm to finish the process? We'll see with the mail router later, but the same for daily updates to just trigger something. And then also the reasoning can help us detect outliers, exception, and trigger the human validation for the human in the loop. With this new version of the entities and all the stuff we can extract now with agents, we have what our customers say, the most complete graph in Belgium, because we keep all the history. So we have the links, but actually this is working. We can click, we can show you a demo later. Every element, we have the start date, the end date, the roles they played, which company they were before, everything is clickable. So if I click a person, I take tone, not everybody is as multi-entrepreneur as So the gray one are the one from the past. But we still keep a track of it. We have all the history since 2003, with more than 20 years. And we have all the address, all the roles, everything, all the history, all the previous name of the company.
Basically doing this to test the KYC process in banks. I can tell you it's not as good as it could be.
Yeah, and so it's also obviously useful for AML. One of the links, he's already in 3 bankruptcies before. We could use also an agent. We don't have, but we could to traverse the graph, all those graphs to find the use case that you will trigger an alert on. It's your decision. And we can do alerts too. Every new event that we detect with those agents, we can trigger the API and put them to you for workflow, for validation, automatic for most of them, like a company name or an activity change. If it's a company management and who can sign, you might be wanting to be triggered real time. We have, like I said, more than 10 year experience, multiple engineers. We have unique assets. We are the only ones who have all the history that we kept for this 25 years of all this, the official data sources. We are validating in 4 major banks, and we are actively serving smaller banks, insured for KYC and AML. We have a GDPR compliant infrastructure that we can do on our side or on your side. We could run it on you. We already worked before. What is improved? The POC was 100% automation. We know that it's not possible. I mean, it shouldn't be done. So now we have human in the loop in our workflow. We had automated agent, daily customer thing, as I said, and we have a fully flexible solution. We could combine all the stuff we said, or just a part. We have a solution customizable, but existing and ready to go. As I said, I can still do a demo. Where D for an agentic POC are you?
Are we under the 5 minutes and can I comment?
Yes,
because we've been selling this to banks for 10 years, and I can tell you something very interesting is happening now in the reverse pitch. The pitch we saw from the bank is that the human in the loop and the understanding, the acknowledgement of the banks today that you need those teams along. And this has been our toughest problem in the past. When you show this to teams doing this work, nobody can do this. My job here, it's a threat.
Yeah.
And none of us is going to sell automation as long as the team's doing it and the line manager sees a threat. So you really have to sell it like you said. It's a support for pesky tasks that nobody wants to do. Everybody is complaining that in KYC there's delays, and so with our solution we clearly go for that. And so when I say we've been selling those POCs to all 4 major banks, they paid us to do that. Each time we ran into the same problem. We're dreaming about 100% straight-through processing. Oh, sorry, there is a bit of noise, there is exception, there's outliers. You will need expert people to do that. And so that's what I liked. And I think it's an acknowledgement for everybody pitching afterwards. And those in the bank working on these processes, keep a human in the loop and sell it well to your people before you get external contractors.
Yeah, and like we said before, so all this information we can summarize in one report to the human to verify, like all the ones that are still valid. We'll get rid of all the noise. So this is the signing rule, because we have all the signing rules extracted from the bylaws as well. This is the current signing rules, this is the current board management, this is a flag for this guy and this guy. You have to validate this, and you do the summary for you, and we can build it together.
And so this is all built, available, and ready for you to integrate. So up to the questions.
Maybe I will repeat the question for the people in the back, if that's okay.
Okay,
Or you can-
the question is more with your solution. With technology tech, you are dependent on a cloud provider, or No. you have on-premise solution? We have on-premise solution. We have smaller model that we fine-tune and agentic framework classic, but there is no. I mean, the data is in a cloud server. It's outside, but we don't have any other.
We use
provider.
only open source software stacks, which means if you give us a container, we can run it.
And it's resources, obviously, for the element, but it's all runnable locally.
Yes, at open source side, there is Cube, there is this, there is that. Or do you also manage the data quality? And then instead we are reaching out to customers to fix. How are you also having a process to ensure it's not fixing just at your side, but it end-to-end, it's fixed end-to-end?
So to fix it end-to-end, you need to get the compliance right, you need the end customer. Because you need a declaration that you say, we found these data ourselves. Are they correct? Are they aligned? And so that's where all the banks are struggling and where they work together. Keep is a great example. You say, okay, we have these KYC data in 2 banks, but they're conflicting. I mean, because we've done this for all the banks, we see a lot of conflicting information, especially outdated information. The same person is still in the company, but they were in Staatsblad ruled out, but they're the ones who have the mandate, and they're the one the bank thinks is the legal counterparty. And so, go ahead.
We have a scoring model, taking all the source into account. Like we said, the scoring model is customizable because I know that for some bank, only what is published in the monitor is valid, is the law. For the other one, it's KBO because it's the most fresh. So it will depend from one service and sometimes from one use case to the other. This is customizable because we have all the sources. As I said, we got all the history, so we fetch them and we can rescore them, we rank them according to your needs and what you want. And if there is a delta, we can use an agent to fetch the latest or call an API or verify ourselves or present you the information. There's 60% chance this, 40% chance this. Again, with your scoring, we have one by default, obviously, but everything is scored. Everything that goes out of the model, including the history, is scored according to the source, and we have everything.
And
it's coming from this store, and you have the same as you will do for AML or for you have threshold and stuff. If it's over, I don't know, 80%, and if it's monitored, non-monitored KBO and structured, then we are sure, and so on.
So typically, a management company with one founder, one director, you don't need a lot of intelligence to know that this one person can sign everything. Very easy. A larger company, which in the bank often is in a different department with 4 persons that are not always correctly identified in the Staatsblad, much more complex. That's where you need a human in the loop or automated reach out to ask to these persons or their representatives to send the documentation, to get a passport copy, to get a duly signed document that you can use to harden your internal process.
Or just the confirmation.
Or the confirmation.
Can you confirm that this is the valid information if there is a doubt left? And even still, for that part, no human in the loop. Just when they fill in the questionnaire, which is stopping the onboarding or the revalidation, you reach out and then you have the summary of all the action taken plus the confirmation from customer for the one we were not sure because of the scoring. And you have the full picture and you can take a decision.
And that's a great use case to use agents because it's a cumbersome part of the process where you're blocking the onboarding or the recertification of a customer and nobody understands why does it take 2 weeks to get this document. If you inform the customer, we ask about it, here's an automated reminder, you're blocked because you're waiting to sign this document. You safely upload it through the banking app or other channels, we validate it and it's done. But that's your process. Yeah. We will help you find the delta between what you have seen or are lacking and what is officially known and validated in authentic government sources. And that's what we sell.
And for the flagged one, we have a workflow that we can assign to be ransom that I guess you'll use yours and more via API, but okay. But
for smaller providers, we provide a full stack.
Those that have been flagged, those that from annual review, who verified it, 1I, 2I, I mean 2 per by who did the text in the PDF report, who's validating. You can use it as well, Spreadit exists, if you want to integrate as well, especially if it's on premise, then you don't have to, but yeah. So this is the last part, but it's not really part of the agentic one, so I didn't present it. But it's also part of the solution.
Perfect. Thank you very much. That's the time for you.
Okay, thank you.
So we are ready for the third pitch within the KYC automation, the first challenge, which is Ixon. Yes.
Change is the only constant.
10 years ago, when I need something from the bank, I had to go to the bank office. Today I can do it just from my sofa. And actually, what would be nice if in the future I don't need to think about it anymore at all, that everything is automated. My name is Pascal Niville. I'm head of AI at Xor. We're a software company based in Mechelen, and we are already around for more than 20 years. Typically, we tackle these kinds of large software integration problems like the ones that are here today with methodology. So I'm not here today to really sell a finished product, but I'm here today to sell a methodology. That actually works to build a good product for the customer of today and also the one of tomorrow. The methodology I'm talking about is a diamond methodology. It has its roots in system thinking and is based on the premise that you need to see the whole picture before you can make a real good, durable product. In practice, it takes 4 weeks, 2 weeks to diverge and explore the whole ecosystem and environment, and then 2 weeks to converge and look for an optimal solution for the problem at hand. Something happened with the PowerPoint. If we zoom in into the actual process, then we see 4 blocks coming up. The first one is the project framing phase, and that's where we put all the people together in the room that might be relevant for the project. And it's really the goal to get them talking. Then afterwards, we go into the more functional things. We see, for example, for the credit origination, you need to know what is the call center, do you have a call center? If you want to build a rack, then you need to know what data is in the company. And this can go very wide, very large, but that's okay, because we are there to help you focus again, because we have the experience, but also the privileged outside look on the matter. And then while we zoom in again, then we go more into the technical details. For example, when we're talking about agentic systems, AI tooling is important. Maybe at the bank you have tools for credit scoring. We at Xor also have a lot of tools for NLP, which we use to process millions of documents per month. And in the end, we aim to deliver 2 products. One is a small document, a video, something that's easily shareable and that you can take to your managers or to your colleagues to get talking. And the other one is really a comprehensive document that can serve as a start for a real development project. Besides this, I also wanted to share some lessons we learned while working with agentic systems. One thing is because in agentic systems, we put everything in a flow, and typically we go through the flow and things happen. What is really nice is with the correct tools is that you can see everything that's happening, all the prompts, all the data injections, everything, which makes it very intuitive to work with agents. Actually, it's quite nice to work with them. And also, this just free data you get to do like more fancy stuff, for example, like prompt automation. Besides this, the second thing is when we're working in a graph, you need to split everything into little functional aspects. And that makes it very easy for the people that are really doing the development work to get the focus, and everybody that's working on the team to really know what's going on at hand. So in my opinion, or in my feeling, it gives a better productivity for the whole team. And then last lesson is more of a bitter lesson. When we work with graphs are like trees, they like to grow branches. And there always has to be somebody there to keep in mind of the whole view, like the whole branch, how it looks like, the whole graph, and pruning when necessary. These are 3 insights, more from a product management kind of view. But I also have more insights, like more technical, like how we can fight hallucination or something. But that was a bit too short to tackle in a 5-minute speech. So that was it. Thank you very much.
Let's see for the questions. Maybe we can try and use the mic. However, it might beep because you're in front of the box, so let's try it. Do you have a question?
Yes, you said that you don't go a lot into the guardrailing and hallucination.
What kind of solution do you use for tackle those issues?
It's a very wide topic, right?
Yeah.
But in my opinion, the tools are very important. For example, at Invoice, we have a lot of things that we use for invoice processing, document handling. And we also checked if you can just do it with the LLMs today. But then we see that often if an invoice is €10, then suddenly you need to pay €20 when the model is doing it. And then we have our models with all the tools, with all the checks and validations. And I think, yeah, for now, until they get really good, the LLMs, then for now, it's a combination between good tools that are specialized into doing something, and then the LLMs to do more the routing and the sharing of the data.
Any other questions from the audience? Yes? You're close enough so I can probably reach you.
Thanks. Thanks for the presentation. Quick question. Since you are using some like product management methodology here, like Double Diamond, very good. I wanted to ask you, what are the difference that you've noticed while building the difference between building SaaS using product methodology and agents?
Just while working, I think the agents are it's more flexible and I don't know, it feels more natural, and it's also just easier because they can do things in 5 minutes that you needed 2 weeks before to build something. So just from a project management perspective, I think it's very it's easier to work than old software because you need to structure the software into the blocks of the graph. You just don't build and you see where you end up. It's like the whole map is laid out before.
Thanks.
Great. Thank you very much. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much for your pitch. Next up is another one of our members, and the last one in the KYC challenge for today. Harmony, take it away.
Thanks. So compliance is a mess. We all know that financial institutions for the moment are balancing between one side regulations that constantly are changing, financial crime that's growing, and on the other side, customer experience that needs to enhance constantly. And on top of all of that, it's like talents. Where do we find our new talent to keep up with these demands? Thanks. So that was the thing I just said. And then, so I'm Walter Bens. I'm a director of business development at Harmony. François Verharik, co-founder and CEO of Harmony. We're here in the following 5 minutes, going to explain you a bit how we see it and how we do this, all by keeping customer experience. So let us agree that financial institutions are for the moment looking for a system that can reduce the workload, at the same time can screen in few seconds the new customers and existing customers, and on top of that can in the same amount of seconds give you a real insights reporting on all those data, so you can take the right decision. On top of that, increase those customer experience.
I will jump in here. So Harmony is in fact a very modular platform. So what we do is in fact we have created a full platform where we can, on one hand, manage the full end-to-end cycle in the KYC and AML procedures, but also at banks and insurers, what we do is we look at what is the problem at hand. Can we build like a small service with AI in it, but also with some workflow on top of it, and in that perspective, really reduce the workloads that are needed. And we do that, in fact, by leveraging the ecosystems which are available out there. If you look at transaction monitoring, for example, we work on top of NetReview. So we can build like very small tools, and with our API, you can then, for example, enhance the case management on top of transaction management. But also, if you look at also the previous speakers, etc., if you look at corporate data, or you need to on board like financial institutions, Antwerp financial institutions. There's a whole complexity behind that. And we have built like a simple API for that so that you can check a corporate, leverage on the best possible data which is available in the market, not only Belgian data, but also global data, even screen UBOs and all kinds of related parties to come back with like one aggregated response for your use case, reducing the kinds of little workflows you need to do, but having that available as a very easy API. We do that, for example, in a partnership with CreditSafe and Graden, where we can build like little workflows just that fit your system.
Yeah, we have multiple ways to analyze advanced data. So one of the parts is we work again together with multiple partners. The other part is we also work with OCR and NLP. We are currently integrating this in one of the biggest financial institutions we're doing this, one of the biggest financial institutions in Europe. Next to that, we have models to do the risk profiling. What's important in this part is that leveraging on those data of all those partners, we can do in a few seconds, really give you a score, what's happening. And on top of that, in every of those models, we always can implement the human. So it's you who decide based on your risk tolerance if you want to have a human in the loop, if you want to have a 4 eyes principle or not. What we noticed after working years and years with our clients, we saw that 80% of the workload, it is reduced of 80% of the workload. On top of that, you can really attack one small problem at a time, so you don't need to attack your workflows and stop completely your workflows, because you can solve with the modelers. You can choose which modelers you want. Yeah, I just want to say, for the moment, we exist since 2016. We have 40 clients all over Europe, 30 employees. Yeah, a pretty big one. So I think that part of trust we can manage. Yeah, thank you very much. If you want to attack the headache of compliance, go for it.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Immediate questions? It's of course a very fast pace. Huh? It's every 5 minutes a new company, so I understand that sometimes it takes a little time to think about it. Are there any questions from the audience at this point? I know they mentioned a few data companies by name. We have somebody at the back who's from one of the companies on the slide as well. There we go.
Do you have experience with multi-entity companies from the same group? So just we share return of experience when you implement such things. For example, in Belgium, we have, of course, the group has several entities. Do you have experience with that type of situation?
Yeah, so your question, in effect, in a larger company or bank, you can have multiple groups, multiple compliance rules. And how do you manage that? Or do you mean the customer you're looking at having multiple and a global presence?
Voilà.
With the last one? Yeah, okay. So we do have experience with both. In fact, what we do is we as I already started to explain, we leverage on the data that is available, but we structure it in a kind of graph. And then we can have rules based on the levels that you have and on UBO level, on a percentage of shareholdership. We can drill down the group, construct the graph, also do, for example, like screenings on top of that, not only for shareholders, but maybe also for directors. So it depends on your policy, how we can tune that and how we can come up with the right data towards you. And we can do that for different countries. The main challenge often is that the data quality is very different in the different countries. So what we can do, for example, if our first data provider lacks a little bit of quality in a certain country, we can come up with a second one and make sure that we give you like a full global coverage with all the data that is available there. So the strength in our platform, in fact, is that we can do a kind of workflow that compensates for the lack of quality, and that is fully tailored to the compliance rules that you have. How would you like to deal with it in a certain country? That's how we tackle that.
As you mentioned that there is already some integrations that are happen in the legacy systems. How are you improving on the investigator side? Like, what are the metrics or things like explainable AI? I don't know, whatever the other things that can be help for the investigators to make a decision, because as we see that there are a lot of levels of investigations that takes place. How are you looking into like hibernation alerts, things like that? Like, how are you processing those things?
So, in fact, on how we, it's on different levels that we try to improve the efficiency. So we have AI at the level of tasks, let's say. So the example, we have like one customer with millions of documents every year coming in the system where we do document proofing and also the kind of data extraction in a very efficient way. But we are also convinced that it's not only the kind of AI alerts only, it's also about helping the investigator. And we also have like a module where we can like give a snapshot of all the most relevant set of data, and that it can be tuned to your specific case. So what is like the view that you want to have, and how can we like summarize it? So it's often a combination of what can AI bring and with certain accuracy, but also if we think about it just based on our experience, what kind of data sets can we bring to the investigator, and to finally the kind of human in the loop principle we all talk about, can we tune that to those parameters that contribute most to the risk levels that you define.
Thanks. Perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you, Harvey. Thank you. Okay, and that concludes the KYC part of the agenda. For the next challenge, we're looking at credit origination. So AI helping us to divide a long process into different simple tasks with AI agent interaction, but with the possibility of a human in the loop, as well as a no linear process. So we're going for credit origination, and the first company is Price Hubble.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So, very happy to be here. I came a bit late, so I guess the BNP team is here on my right. Okay, good. So my name is Stéphane. I'm a sales director for Priceable in Belgium. And I will give the mic to my colleague.
Yeah,
Sebastian.
so you just put me on the spot. So quick introduction. I work with Stéphane. We're two team, and we run the Benelux together. We're switching things up a little bit because we're a prop tech company, so not a fintech company. Originally, Priceable was founded. Thank you. Priceable was founded originally in 2016. It's a Swiss company. Now we're working in 10 countries. We're the European leader on real estate data, only on residential real estate. So, for an example, we work with BNP Paribas, as you know, and we help all the major finance companies and also realtors and in property valuation, giving insights, market trends. So yeah, in a quick overview, this is what we do, and we'll do the mic back.
Yes, so about the credit origination, so I will explain how we work at Priceable. So we have three angles, three ways of working. So we have the first one, so we are a big data company. So we use all the data that we can have. So it might be open data, it might be internal data from bank, for example, but also the comparable. So you can see accessibility, transaction, amenity, ESG, all the data about the property. That's the first thing. The second thing, when you're here, it's the part of machine learning, enrichment, analysis, and standardization. So what do we mean about that? It's the data is already existing, and our job is to clean those data, to make them speak. And at the end, we have the platform, so we create So we can use our own platform, or we can be integrated by API. So we will show you the video so you can have a better view on how it looks like. And at the end, I will explain what it means for you. So we have the sound, but not the image. And we will explain you on the credit origination how we can help you guys automate some process. If it's not working, you can make an appointment for the demo. Yes, there we go.
Good.
Thank you. So I only have 1 minute, so we'll speed up. What's that?
We get 10 seconds extra for that.
We don't mean it on purpose. So what's in it for you guys? First of all, about the priceable methodology, it's been audited by PwC. What do we mean by audited and certified? It's the methodology we create. It's compliant with the APA guidelines. That's the first thing. And where we can help, as I explained, it's to avoid inaccurate loan decisions. That's the second thing. Automated pre-fill. So sometimes we have to make a screen before the financing, and then with Priceable, you can automatize this process. And efficient drive application paths to save times, because it takes times when someone came with a file and said, okay, I want to finance, but sometimes we have to make valuation and you lost sometimes. And the fourth part is to use our AVM, to reduce dependency to advisors. So how it works concretely, we have a new property. We are integrated in the bank ecosystem. On the granting credit, so the first part, you have the automated valuation, and then you have these stress indices that can say, okay, we need to make a human analysis, or we can go further because the price is online. And at the end, you can redo your valuation during the lifetime of the credit. I think we are fine. Yes, we can as well create some notifications during the lifetime of the credit when the price is up or down, or when the APC change, or when you have some new information about property. Thank you.
Any immediate questions?
Yeah.
Just one. There are different platforms to estimate the price of a house. But I don't know if anyone or you're using also a really vision transformer with the image of the host to get a better insight just of the geolocalization, but also with the image. I don't know.
Yes. Actually, we use that one, and because we have this issue with the comparables, because sometimes you have the address, but you have different apartments, and then you cannot say that's the same price. So we use the image to see the difference between first floor, second floor, and so on. So yes.
Any other questions, either from, yes? You can also...
Okay, can customers use this as well and use it as proof for the bank, or do they still have to have an official valuation done by a certified assessor?
Yes. When do you mean customize? You mean integration?
No. I want to get a loan from the bank, and
Yeah.
they say, right, you got to come with a valuation of your property. Is this enough, or do I still have to use an official certified surveyor?
No, actually, the methodology is to go from the first steps. So you have multiple files coming, and then sometimes you cannot analyze everything. So our model is to do the first check, and when you have some red light, you say, okay, for this one, I need to go to a human expert, or for this one, the valuation is totally okay, so I can go further. So it's more like a script.
It's a human in the loop at the end.
Any other questions? No? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks.
So, how do you want? I'll give it. I think it's good. I think it's good. This side, just like that.
So moving over to Mifundo.
Mifundo. Okay. Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me here today. I'm Alex Blake. I'm the head of strategic partnerships at Mifundo. I came with my colleague Enrique, who's sitting over there, who is a public affairs officer. He's based in Belgium, in Brussels, actually. Okay. Here? Okay. Thank you. So, to understand what Mifundo does, we first have to look at the problem we solve. And in Europe, we have freedom of movement, capital, goods, people. But when it comes to credit data, that's a different complete story. When you cross the border, your credit history, your financial profile does not cross with you. So, unlike the United States, if you relocate from New York to California, you can have, as a consumer, you can have instant access to credit products, to financial services instantly. But in Europe, there is a highly fragmented credit data landscape, and this is the problem that Mifundo is solving. So how do we do it? How does it work? Mainly, we bring together data from many sources, from many countries, into one single hub. From that point, we standardize this data, we analyze this data, and we calculate a pan-European score. And we deliver this information to banks. So banks, with one click, banks can have instant access to this information, and consumers can provide this information to banks. The typical use cases for the consumer are three. So one person who is relocating to another country, or own nationals returning, so Belgians returning to Belgium. People who are daily commuting from one country to another, or people buying real estate, houses, property in another country. All in all, this affects about 45 million people in Europe. To give you some data from the feedback with the banks we work with, about 15% of credit applicants in a bank are non-residents or foreigners, regardless of the country, regardless of the bank. In digital banks and new banks, that figure is much, much higher. Okay. So where do we get the data? Mainly we get the data from credit bureaus, but we enhance this data with additional sources like open banking data. From that point, we calculate this pan-European score. We standardize this data to make it understandable. And we deliver this data via APIs or with an online platform that I will show you just in a minute. Our revenue streams, so mainly banks pay us depending on the data package they select. And it's on a per query basis for every credit applicant. Very simple model. In terms of traction, we have built a product. We have a fully fledged commercial platform already. We have secured agreements with main leading credit bureaus in Europe.
last year, we were given funding from the European Commission, the first fintech ever to be funded by Horizon Europe program. And obviously, this money will allow us to speed up our implementation. In terms of team, we are a team. We have large banking and technology experience. CEO and co-founder of Mifundo, Kaido, was the chairman of a bank, a big bank, Estonian big bank, that expanded 9 years through Europe in 9 countries. Other people have a long experience in building and scaling startups, scale-ups like Estonian unicorns as Skype, Skype, or Bolt. Now I'll show you the video, very quick. This is like the platform, the dashboard that a credit officer or a branch officer would see. Every line is a credit applicant. You can browse by countries. So we will simulate a new query. We have to enter the customer emails, the credit applicant, select the country. We can do also multi-country queries. We select the credit package. And then we trigger the consumer consent. We need always consumer consent, so we take care of that. And here we see a summary of this person, a British person, the credit score from Mifundo, and then we have access to all, if selected the full package, access to liabilities, outstanding loans, income data, default loans, and other relevant information that is needed. Everything very clear, standardized in euros. So all in all, because sorry, it's a lot of information. I know I'm going very fast, but here we see an original report, credit report. In this case, it's from Poland. So very complex. It's like 11 pages. So it's pretty complex. There is very useful information, all the information that you really don't need to go for the underwriting process, especially very complex if you don't speak Polish. But on the left-hand side, you have clear, understandable, standardized data from Mifundo. So thank you very much. Happy to answer the questions you might have.
Sorry, I was studying.
Yes. Just one question. You say that you use credit bureau data, but for Belgium, do you use the central positive stuff where because you get the consent and you can go to those database, government database to get Belgium data?
I think Enrique I pass the ground to Enrique, who is the expert.
Yes, we reach out to the credit bureaus and at the same time also to the credit registers, which are public institutions, not just in Belgium, but in France, in Ireland. The credit data is held with credit registers. Different access. We need to sort of discuss with them and see what it is allowed within the remit of the law. So it is taking a little bit longer to onboard these particular countries where there are no private companies working in credit bureaus. But the discussions are ongoing. For example, with the National Bank of Belgium, I have a meeting in March just to discuss this. So we are slowly building up also the report with them.
Thank you, Enrique. Sure.
Answer?
Yeah.
So yeah, how are you handling like if there is some information that regulatory bodies can pass cannot give you the information or something like that that can affect the credit score, or is there any procedures that are already in place for some particular countries that they are not allowing something and then kind of influence the credit score as such?
Put an example like what are you referring? What kind of information? I mean, from credit bureau, you mean?
Yeah, credit bureau or credit register. I don't know, like with in terms of.
We got the. I mean, a bank in Belgium will have the same. I mean, if you're assessing a German citizen, so a bank in Belgium will have the same information as a bank in Germany has. Like in this case, Schufa is our leading partner there. But if there is any missing information, we enhance this information with open banking data or other sources. So we complement this with credit bureau because, as you know, not all credit bureaus, the level of the degree of depth in the information might be very different from country to country. So we try to harmonize, to standardize, and to complement this information, this data. For instance, in some countries we get annual data tax statements of these kind of things. So
So you have all the detail, all the information.
Any other questions? Questions from the audience? No? Okay, thank you very much for getting on that. Apologies on missing the name in the beginning. It's the only thing I have to do is say your name and I say it wrong. We're moving on to the last one in the credit origination, which should be Seven Jochen.
If I fall, I apologize. I'm not used to wearing mic. Good morning. My name is Tom van Asbroek, and I'm the co-founder of Seven Jochen. And at Seven Jochen, we're trying to avoid the frustrating parts of a credit application, all while cutting underwriting costs by 90%. So I think if you want to solve a problem, you have to experience a problem. And so a few days ago, I tried to use my business account of Paribas to apply for some credit loan for a company equipment. And it was a special experience because I applied with my accounting office business account, and I got a product list of 180 products concerning agriculture, food processing, dental equipment, medical equipment. Let's just say that it was clear that Paribas didn't know my profile, so I tried them the wizard. Basically, I'm going to get a phone call in a few days asking why I need a core machine as an accounting office. But anyway. So how can we solve this credit application workflow? Well, we can combine our certified autonomous bookkeeper together with an agentic workflow of 3 parts. Let me explain how we can do this. Well, a client can upload a document, and because our document agent has accounting background, it knows what to look for. For example, we have a business company that is requiring a credit loan for a car. And so our document agent can analyze, is it a new car, a second car? Do we need to ask for more information? The second of all is our task agent. And this task agent will decide which calculations we need to offer. For example, at KBC, when you have a credit loan for more than 100K, then you need to apply also a balance sheet. So our task agent will decide, okay, this is a credit application for more than 100K, and we'll need to request a balance sheet. And so the client can upload a balance sheet or the accountant. And we are capable of understanding Excel files, PDF files, and even the raw documents with OCR processing. And then we can normalize the chart of accounts, and we are capable of calculating the debt repayment capacity of the company. So basically, this leads to a comprehensive report, and depending on the quest of the credit, it's going to contain different KPIs or financial information. So what we've created is kind of a DFO, a digital financial officer, which enhances the personalized client experience, is shortening the time to yes, and of course, is reducing the manual overhead. So how do you do this? Well, we combine my 12 years of accounting experience automation from my own accounting office using real-world examples and also real accounting data, together with my co-founder, Willem, who has a PhD in computer science, and together we have created Seven Jochen from the ground up. We are fully bootstrapped and we are self-funded. So we offer an API solution. Our solution runs on the Azure cloud. We are an AI cloud partner, and we also offer our solution on the Azure marketplace. And we only are using open source AI models. So there's zero data sharing with third-party AI providers. We ask for a setup fee to implement all the banking procedures. Like for example, at KBC, whenever you go above 100K, you need to apply with the balance sheet. And also we ask for a cost per credit application. Of course, security matters, so we start our SOC compliant, and we have a very interesting partnership with KU Leuven, while we are participating in the research to create a framework regarding the guardrailing of AI systems. We are looking for fintechs, neobanks, and in Germany, France, and Nordics. And of course, it all depends on how we can adapt our accounting intelligence to the regulations and the tax laws that is in these companies. So let me end my presentation with a kind quote, relevant quote. There are decades where nothing happens, and weeks where decades happens. And being involved in this AI evolution, we really see these transformative weeks, where every week, like for example this week with DeepSeek, AI really transforms every week. So thank you for your attention.
Great. Do we have any direct questions? Any questions from the audience? Yes.
Very briefly, have you already launched the product and do you already have customers, or you just?
We're actually logging with Belfius, but not with credit application, but with for factoring. Yeah. And we're using this in my own accounting office where we're doing this certified autonomous bookkeeper. So basically, it's an agentic workflow where whenever when our system gets data, bank transaction, invoices, documents, it kind of decides what it needs to do. Yeah.
Thanks.
Maybe one question on the reimbursement capacity. So this is a very interesting topic. How do you do that? On which data are you using to make this reimbursement capacity only on the balance sheet, or also maybe using some transactions of the clients?
It depends on how far you want to go, of course, because normally a bank depends on the truthfulness of the uploaded balance sheet. So that of course, that's the first step. But the next step would be, of course, that when the client is already a client at Paribas, that we do continuously monitor the bank transactions and to categorize these bank transactions. So basically, whenever a client whenever a person is a client at Paribas, we could actually kind of predict and don't need to ask for the balance sheet, because let's just say the most we saw billions of bank transactions, so we can really recognize every kind of a credit or a cash transfer over. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much. So, if I am not mistaken, that was our last part in the credit origination, and we are moving on to our next challenge, where we have a challenge around agentic RAG, so an AI agent helping to interact with customers, and then finding the right answer in preset set of facts and answers. So the first company here is Intuitech. And
yes, I tried to tackle it with that first. And as you see, there was a minor change. Our CEO got sick, but I'm Tamás and substituting him today. Can I get that? All right, so I'm Tamás, head of AI and partner at Intuitech, and I will talk to you today about our agentic RAG solution. And as a start, just some words about the company. So, as you see, we are working all across Europe right now in 7 different countries with different banking industry clients, and we just crossed the 200 line in number of employees. But I'm here to talk about the solution, not the company. So, basically, RAG solutions are always really important to keep all those banking standards because they can be used for client-facing and so on. So as we are early adopters, I think we are in a really good state in that right now. And I will start at the end. So proven, we have a customer-facing live solution in a CE bank since November, with more than 10,000 user sessions per month. Our accuracy right now is measured both by automated solutions and manual solutions. So it's like one people is still checking all the queries. But we think that we are close to 98% right now. In case of safety, it's really interesting. In the first 2 months, 8% of all user sessions was breaking attempts. So, but we are still at zero break. We are a bit over-guardrailed, but that's for sure that you will start like that when you are going to our customer-facing solutions. In case of compliance, of course, you need to be there. You need to be DORA compliant, GDPR and AIF compliant. And in case of certification, I think it's really interesting because right now we are under an audit by a Big Four and by a Stanford spin-off OpenAI partner company. In case of customer-facing solution, I think there was no other company who already did that certification. all right, but usually if you are talking just a reg, it's really hard to tell your business stakeholders that, okay, it has value because, it's just customers can talk with that, and it's, of course, engagement will be higher, but we already added some other functionalities where we can get real value. So for example, what we call digital sales assistant, based on the flow the customer has with the agent, is just pushing products into the face of that client and so on. Personal finance manager, what we call, is basically analyzing lookalike groups and the transaction history of the user. Again, it gives you personal suggestions, and also you're able to talk with your transaction database. And maybe just one more example, conversion event for completion. For example, your loan calculators, as we did the same, can be just changed to a conversational form, which customer really like in our understanding. But this is, again, just the second step. And when you have this solution, you also need to have this value sustainable. So what else we integrated in this system is, of course, a monitoring system. You need to know your costs and usage data and everything. The auto testing framework is really important because in that sense, if any company data is changing, but you need to change just, I don't know, some kind of document in the background, you can do it automatically, and we already know the accuracy because of that system. Human-in-the-loop framework, again, everyone needs to have this one. And the self-learning is also really interesting. We are monitoring the questions what the tool was not able to answer, for example. We are automatically gathering those with numbers, and if we see that there is a gap in the knowledge, we are just automatically filling it out with the right information. But all that sounds nice, but I also brought you a demo about that, where I can just show you a bit more functionalities. So what you see here, this tool is a reg system, but also build some APIs and database connections into that. It's actually a loan calculator right here. So the tool here just starts to build a profile of the user and knows that it's missing some information, asking back. After that, it has all the information, so can call APIs based on that and goes into a loan calculator API, gets all the information that what kind of loan that customer can get. And after that, it will go another reaction. So the customer will also ask about, okay, but based on my transactions, can I pay for that loan? You will see that in a second. Sorry, I'm talking a bit too fast for that. But yeah, as you see here, the monthly repayment was calculated. So asking if I can pay for it. And as you see here, just in a second, basically it went to the database, understand the question, wrote the SQL query, sent it to the system, and got the real answer. So different APIs, different databases are also connected at the same time. Basically, we want to bring that functionality in Q1 already into the application of the same bank and give this functionality to the customers. I think that's all for me, and thank you.
Thanks very much. Are there any immediate questions?
Yeah, by allowing also to do transaction by function calling of agent, having access to tools to do. You bring the calculation, you bring SQL generator to catch the data in the database. How many functions do you implement? And did you encounter some problem when you have too many functions that it can not really choose the correct one?
Yeah, so basically I think we are not really going to the like the LangChain way, so with function calls and so on. Basically we built a software orchestration around it. Actually, I think that's not usual. Again, we are in Java actually. And we are calling these based on intent recognition, which is, again, that's the best fine-tuned agent in this orchestrator layer. And all of these tools are like groups. So for example, database call is just a group, and after that it understands what kind of database needs to be used. And so, so it's like many layered. But yeah, so I think that's the answer. So basically it's just not too many, but after that on the leaves, it's many.
Any other questions?
Is it already integrated to any of some production or something like that, or yet, or?
So yeah, so actually that functionality, we are just testing it. It's regulation, so we are waiting a bit. We are testing more than is necessary right now. We need to make sure that no data can enter places which we don't want to. But for example, this transaction data we already integrated, and we will roll out this functionality in Q1, end of Q1, I think.
But with the RAG applications too, like how you're handling like guardrailing and things like that, are there any also in production that were already here for RAG, just the basic RAG too, not even agentic? But...
Yeah, so in the RAG system there are a lot of barriers, so many aspects of style, data. I don't know. I don't want to list them, but for example, in a database, the tool only knows the DLL, the tool only writes the SQL, the software is running the SQL, the software is just getting back the result of the SQL. So basically, the agent is not connected with the database anyhow. It's the software which can be safe.
Yes. Any other questions from the audience? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to our next pick from Netcall.
Good morning, all. Netcall is a B2B software player in enterprise software. So the company's been around for over 25 years, listed not on the Antwerp Stock Exchange, but on the AIM segment of the London Stock Exchange. So customers choose to work with us either to streamline and digitize existing processes or to build new customer experiences from the ground up. And we do that with a low-code-based platform, which allows to do so probably 10 times faster than a traditional full-stack development. What we often say is that we offer 6 Gartner categories in one platform. I need more than 5 minutes to talk you through each one of them. But the main thing to know is that so it's all independent products, but they work neatly together. So the burden of integration is on us, not on you. And you also need to work with one supplier rather than interfacing and setting up contracts with 6 of them. Maybe one message that I would really like you to take away from this is that AI, a couple of years ago, it was all about deep learning. Now it's agentic Gen AI, and in a couple of years, it will again be something different. So that's not the key thing. What we really do is we harness the value of the AI models and put everything, we call it sometimes the fabric around it, in order to capture the value from AI. That's really the crucial thing to take away. We've been around for a while, also doing these sort of things in Belgium. Mail routing is another challenge, but we know it all too well. We started doing it in 2017, actually, at one of your main business partners, AG Insurance. And we've had it in production since. Lots of experience. Could talk for hours about that challenge as well. That was actually all before the advent of Gen AI and LLMs. Obviously, today, with these new technologies, we can again go a step further. This slide, probably you've seen already a lot of versions about it today. So the agent with the first LLM can essentially figure out what to fetch where, what sources to use. And then obviously, there's a second LLM that puts everything, again, back together. And needless to say, again, crucial aspect, it's been said many times before, human in the loop. The thing is, what we see, what's really an evergreen, that is the fabric that you need in order to harness this in a highly regulated context, because we mostly work in highly regulated contexts, to have these tools, put them to use to keep on increasing automation rates, let's say, year after year, but doing that with everything under the hood, which is much less boring than what you will see under the slides. We already spoke about thresholds, about a lot of configurable parameters and audit logs. So there's a lot of stuff you actually need around it, which is essentially, I think really our differentiator and the core of what we do. Well, key success factors. Again, I could talk about this for long as well, but let me maybe build upon that same point. It has been mentioned as well, the trustworthiness. So that's really crucial. So we've seen so many things, and in our experience, it's maybe an open door, but what works best is that we often start with STP rates, straight through processing rates, lower than what is technically possible. Because it's not the accuracy of the models which counts, because 89% is not enough for you guys. You want to have 100% or close to 100%, and what we do in banking and insurance, it is the automation rate or the STP rate that you can achieve with an accuracy of near 100%. That's the crucial thing, and that's really where we focus on. So you want to start with lower STP rates with near perfect outcomes, and then gradually over time, let's say as the technology evolves, as the maturity evolves, if it's embedded in a workflow, increase these automation rates. You're in good company. Some logos also in Antwerp. We work for one of the largest brokers of the country, of the Plantijn Moretuslei. There's if you would live in the UK, probably 1 in 5 mortgages would pass via some way on netcall software. Lots of stuff in public sector, also police forces and the like. So credible company. Let's say everything in terms of security, trust and the like is really at par in order to make sure that we harness, let's say, the power of AI from the past, the present, and the future. How am I doing on time, Raf?
You're within time. You have 46 seconds.
All right. Well, I'll go straight to questions then.
Okay. Of course. Let me just get. Sorry. Was there a question?
When you implement those kind of methodology to a bank or whatever, what is about your time to market to put that in production? Or
It depends, and it's a really good question. So when we did it, when we started doing these sort of things, 2017, 2018, well, obviously the time to market was much longer. You would talk about 6-9 months because you would need to collect lots of high quality annotated training data that's sampled, reviewed by 2 persons, train models, and the like. And obviously at the time we still had a lot of the fabric to be built. Nowadays, the cycle time of bringing something high quality into production, also with the workflows around, because initially the workflows, let's say the user dashboards and everything else, was still done in full stack development. Right now, it's a full-fledged local platform, so you can get something up and running in record time. There is so for Aon, one of the largest brokers worldwide, we've built a claims platform in I think around 12 weeks. The first iteration, obviously, and then it has evolved, but in 12 weeks. So you're really talking, much faster time to value compared to 2, 3, 5 years ago, where we were talking. I think rather so. Sometimes in the company we said in the past we would talk in months and years, and now it's rather days, weeks. Things change rapidly.
You put as one of your main KPI 30% cheaper than phone calls, but we know that phone calls are quite expensive to handle, which means that your solution is not so cheap.
Well, that's how you spin it, right? No, the thing is obviously pretty important to know indeed. So in the platform, there's also an omni-channel or a CCaaS platform, so handles chat, voice, and the like. Customer experience is at the front. You want to offer a unified experience across your channels, so I think that's important. And then obviously anything you can deflect away from humans, while if you have it done by a system, it is cheaper, and it is let's say also having a faster turnaround time to your users. So typically these things work 24/7 and not only within the office hours. So we've seen many cases, whether it's in the banking, insurance claims and the like, where if a customer comes on a Saturday morning, nowadays we're used to having to the experiences from all the digital players. If you order a book on Amazon, it's immediately paid for and shipped the next day. Well, you want that same type of responses from your bank. And so increasingly these get automated. The thing is, the exact straight-through processing rates depends obviously from channel to channel, from process to process. It depends upon the internal checks you still want to do. So we see all kinds of things. We have a live case also in credit disbursement. So after the origination process, the credit is there, where people need to provide, let's say, proof documents, invoices and offers from their contractors. Well, there typically some things which fall below a certain limit can pass in STP, and the rest, even though it's technically possible to do it in STP, can still require a human check. So these sort of things are all possible. This is not one solution with one process with one set of rules. It is a low-code toolkit, but verticalized for banking and insurance, and so those are our core markets.
I think this question is more generic, but regarding KPIs itself. But how are you handling, what do you say, like approaching the productivity gains, or in terms of also KPIs? Because with Gen AI coming into the picture, it is much more harder. But what is your approach that you're following to find out what are the gains or KPIs that you can kind of improve with your use case?
Well, so where I've got most experiences in the intelligent document processing part, and there we measure accuracy, but also automation rate on an individual field level, on the document level, after the emails or the things have been classified, on an overall bundle, and then you can roll up to, let's say, calculate what are SPP rates across the departments, and sometimes that's pools of dozens of people. Where you can calculate the productivity gain. So the business case is usually not too difficult. What most companies do, again, which resonates with, don't immediately open the tap completely with what's technically possible, but build it gradually up over time, is they don't let people go, but they do either more business with the same amount of people, have the people do more customer-facing jobs, or they don't replace people who retire and leave the company. So also in terms of how do you approach this from an organizational point of view, we've got a lot of experience actually.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Right.
That's the time.
You're welcome.
It was already challenging with one after the other quickly. We're going to challenge you a little bit more because we're going to skip the next company that's in your bundle, and they will come at the end because they have some delays. But we are moving to the last challenge, the fourth challenge, which is the mail routing challenge. I think Paul talked about it a little bit as well, so it doesn't need a long introduction from me. But we do have the first company here that is ready to pitch, and that is the company Text.
All right, thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Wouter, CEO and co-founder of Text. And I think today we can all agree, and we are all talking about this, that there's a major shift happening today, and that's from software as a service to service as a software. Software as a service, a UI above Excel, a database where you put people working on, making it more easy, and now you're buying service that works on top of that UI. And there are many applications in this. You have AI agents for sales, copywriting, coding, but where we see the real value at is a back office operations. On average, 40% of back office operations are wasted on manual, repetitive tasks. This is very expensive. It's very demotivating for employees, and it adds 0% added value to customers. And 40% is massive, and maybe if people are working from home, it might be even more. And this all comes down to one very specific problem, and that's what we call the messy inbox problem. Companies are facing a constant stream of incoming messages. These are orders, cases, complaints, after sales with, without attachments, that needs to be processed by humans. With that constant stream of incoming messages, things get messy real quickly. What we see every day, emails are being forwarded continuously, complaints are being processed very slowly, and it's very hard to make sure that everyone works in the same structured way. And the solution in the past was just hiring more people. But this even makes the mess a little bit worse until now, because now we have AI. Now, imagine you have an AI model that just reads the messages just the way we read it ourselves. Even to the point that it really understands the customers, your processes, and identifies the automations that needs to happen. Even in this case, if it's a customer who communicates about two types of problems, even those can be identified and processed. Because let's be honest, that's also how customers communicate. That's exactly what we do at Text. We are an AI platform for back office automations. This unlocks unlimited insights and control, so you know what's happening in your company, what comes in, what goes out. And it also enables deep automations, regardless of complexity. And this enables us to turn your back office into a competitive advantage by having your model trained on your data that really knows your processes. Now, I have been talking the talk, let's walk the talk, with two customers. For example, Secrex. Secrex receives in the millions of emails each year, very complex, about wages, very sensitive, all PII that goes in. And these were all classified by humans. They even had around above 1,000 rules made, student, studente, étudiant. Some will be familiar, of course. But that's what they do. The first step we did was just classify, just analyzing every incoming messages and send it to the right people. With only this, we made savings above 500,000 euros. Now, as we classify the first layer, we are doing the second layer, the automation part. And now we are going above 5 million of savings just by sending the email to the right person, and after that person starting the automation where the opportunity lies. Next one, Bertin Dickerson. It's a huge company. It's globally. They receive 1.3 million emails per year, and they have in those pile of all of emails, they have around 2,000 product incident reports each year. What is this? They sell medical devices to the hospitals, and once there's, for example, a needle that is broken, the hospital sends to the company, it's broken, we need a new one, otherwise we can do some type of operations. Out of the pile, they need to know, okay, where is that message? Because that needs to be processed as soon as possible, otherwise the hospital can't help the people. So we just trained the model just to extract only these type messages out of the 1.3 million, and we automate the full processes. Now we do it for every email that comes in, and we had from 3 days average resolution time to below 24 hours. That's actually insane, because it's very complex. They have all acquisitions. They have not only Outlook, they also work on SAP, they work on Salesforce, very complex. They also have custom CRMs. You may know this as well, but that's a huge one. And we all started with them with just one pilot, a very small project, and that's also why I would like to invite you to do just the same, have one specific use case and do it, and just let's test it. And then see, okay, is this a viable business case? Is it ROI? Because that is all AI should be about. Thank you.
Very clear. Should talk to my social secretariat to use the same, because I don't generally get an answer within a day or two questions. Probably the wrong one. Any questions? Yeah.
Like the messy image that you bring when you have in your email attachment, do you proceed then as well? Yeah. And you streamline everything with tools like Unstructure or whatever to get all the information and then you resolve everything?
Yeah. So it depends. So of course we read the PDF. For example, with Secrex, I think 30% of the volume was just C attachments. So if we start with them, we already have like 70% that we could process, but the other 30% we didn't. So that's also why we also solve it. But what we also see, they also have existing tools that are, for example, just for OCR or whatever, and they are good enough, so we just process it and push it through the OCR, for example. But we can also do the OCR ourselves. But that's just by connecting the tools within the company and make the most optimal solution. That's how we approach this.
Sorry, yeah. And what volume of emails does your service become interesting? You're talking about millions, and not everybody quite reaches that level.
It's all about business case. We also have customers who only have around 600 a week, so it's not really a lot. But these are disputes about very complex deals, and this has a huge effect on the profit balance and the cash balance, because the longer they wait to solve the disputes, the longer they have to wait to have the cash. And we are speaking about millions, hundreds of millions, if they are processing these disputes very slowly. So for them, we just did it's low volume, but the impact is huge. It's a whole different business case. It's not that we need a lot of volume to have a huge impact. It's a solution we sell. It's not just a plugin and let's see how it goes. So it really depends on the business case.
In that case, how long was the implementation, and how much does the customer have to do?
The implementation, I think on average, it's 6 weeks. We have customers who have been onboarded in like less than 1 week, but we also, I think the longest one was 3 months. But it depends when do we get the connection, for example, with the inbox. That's the main blocker. Once we have the connection, it goes really fast. But you have also taken into account change management. Everyone can keep working on their existing tools. We are not a new platform where everyone needs to be onboarded to, and these make things life easier, especially for the project manager and so on. Otherwise, you can give a whole year workshops. That's how it goes, especially in enterprises.
Any other questions? Okay, great. Thank you very much. Thank you. So we're moving on to the penultimate pitch, but still within the mail routing challenge. It's a company we have seen in the previous challenge as well, but they will present their solution for the mail routing, and then we will go back to the previous challenge after that. Yes.
So welcome again. Everyone, thank you for coming. We're happy to be here. And I'm not trying to lose any friends, so we're going to be quick because the food is already there. And I can see some faces looking to the left side. So basically, this is about the email automation challenge, which we want to elevate a bit. So we're going to talk about how it's already part. It's a good challenge, as you described it, but it's already part of a bigger challenge because you want to solve the whole workflow. Actually, your business problem is not just the emails, but you want to solve them. You want to make sure that the whole case is closed. So, and I think a demo is more interesting, so I'm going to just share a few words about our approach, and then we actually want to show you a live demo of how it works on a specific use case when someone actually wants, let's say, sends an email that they want to change some basic data regarding their profile. So I'm going to skip that because you already heard our colleague introduce us. So quickly about how we kind of tackle the email automation. The first question is understanding the email. I think what's important here for you is that we use this what we call embedding-based clustering, so not just a simple NLP email understanding, and it gives a much better result. The second question is the email triggering anything else? So we call spam not just the kind of I'm a Nigerian prince, I'm not, but also what we call spam that like, thank you for your email. This kind of not triggering anything. I want to filter that out. And also we call, it's not really spam, but something that we can take care of automatically. Can you send a copy of the photo that I sent you yesterday? The AI can take care of that. So actually we cut everything out that doesn't need a human. And then we do the prioritization. And I think what's also important is that you want to understand how the AI made the decisions. So we put a big emphasis on making it auditable and check why that email was processed in a specific way, and for all other cases. And for the email summarization drafting. So if you need to kind of create a document, write to answer an email, then we do that. And this is just to illustrate that we consider email automation as part of our agents, because it can be part of a full workflow and I think we are ready and we solved the business problem when the email is received, processed, and all the other workflows, tasks are triggered, and then the case is closed, basically. So this is just for us to start, but of course we can work on it separately. So now I will hand it over to my colleague who can actually show you how it works in a specific use case.
Great, thank you. Maybe we can have the video in the meantime, and let's just imagine that we put ourselves in the shoes of a bank administrator. We hope a happy bank administrator, because he or she is going to be able to use the platform to ease her job. Just a second until the video is kicked off. Yeah. And we go back to the beginning. Okay, so here we have the platform that this case administrator would see. And as you can see, once a notification arrives about a new email and is classified and directed to this very specific department and administrator based on the content of the request, a notification pops up. For this demo, we picked up a very simple case, which is basically a client is notifying the bank about a change in his address after moving together with the wife, for example. So we see that the notification pops up, and the administrator is going to be able to handle this request basically in 3 simple steps. First, there is going to be an email incoming identification and verification. You can see that the email text itself is also appearing for the administrator, plus basic information is shown, like the attachment of it or the type of it. Then the administrator is going to be able to process it on his work desk. You can see in this case a Hungarian address card is processed. The address itself is shown, and in case the administrator sees that there is any kind of mismatch in the information between what the client sent and what the card says, the administrator itself, based on the bank's policy, of course, is able to, for example, correct a small case to a big one. If it's accepting the validations that the system did, that the agent did, of course, the system is picking up the next tasks and is pre-drafting the emails and the communication that needs to be sent out to the predefined workflow. So based on this, you can see that even to the administrative back office team it can send, and if the administrator is not happy with the draft, the administrator can change it with the edit function. So for example, to make sure that no post letters has been sent to the previous address of the client. And I think what we wanted to highlight, and maybe resonating to the intro that you did at the beginning with this, there is going to be an administrator that is empowered and augmented because has much less tasks and can focus on the very important ones. It's boosting the creativity because the administrators can work with those problems that really require their attention. Of course, it's increasing the shareholder value because one administrator is going to handle much more tasks and thus is increasing the growth that you can achieve. And from the client perspective, the client is receiving the feedback instantaneously and therefore increasing the client satisfaction. So we try to tackle all the 4 directions, and I think with this simple demo we managed to show that to you. Hope that you like it.
Any questions on your side? We have a question in the back. Yes.
I have an advisor sitting in the point of sale today. He spends around 1 hour to complete all his details. With this, how much time do you win?
Normally all the answers can start with it depends. So obviously, normally what we see when we did this kind of exercise of actually sitting next to the bank clerks or insurance branch clerks, we see that this is actually quite a lot of times actually going through not your emails, actually reading and typing. I think that is basically cut, like 95% of that time is cut. And the second biggest task is actually going through, like, hunting down documents that you need to answer the query or need to process the task, which is also done if you have the right kind of agents in the background. So I would say up from, let's say, 50 to 90% of your time can be saved It's a bold statement, but I like bold statements.
Yeah. Maybe just one more piece to be added, if I may. I think what we also saw while working together with our previous clients is that there's a lot of waiting time. So, for example, customers tend to answer during the evening when they have time, because during the day they work. And then if an evening customer is answering, up until the next morning, nothing happens because no one is treating that email. If you have the agent introduced to the system, the answer is going to be sent out if you are willing to accept the automation fully during that evening. So you basically cut the time that today is only being spent on waiting.
Any other questions? No? No questions from the audience? Then we're almost there for lunch, but we have the last final company on. But thank you very much. So we are moving back to the previous challenge, the agentic or AG challenge, and we have the final pitch for today from Data.
Yes, thanks. I hope everybody can hear me like this. I'm not necessarily going to use a mic, if that's okay for everyone.
Yeah.
Sorry. So hi, I'm Yannick van der Kapelle, so one of the directors, and I'm here with Tim Leers. I'll introduce him in a second. So we get a few good ups to start. So first of all, after us, we'll have lunch, so thumbs up for that, so we'll keep it short. We're not going to sell you any product today, but we have, let's say, a vast majority of experience in the market. We're a Belgian company, more or less 130 experts. So let's say we help companies grow together. That's what we do. And I think that's why we would love to share a bit of our experience and knowledge today with you guys, with all of you. That's why I brought also Tim Leers, which is our AI lead. And let's say it's time for smart people to talk, so I'll do a step aside. Thanks.
Thank you for the intro, Yannick. So first of all, I need to preface this by saying that today was already a lot about change. The schedule didn't exactly work out in my favor. I just had a dental emergency, so if I speak a bit weird, it's because this side of my face I can't feel right now.
It's also because he didn't hit his targets last month. We're not saying it, but it's not in front of me, please.
So I want to talk today about anti-fragile AI. And I think the circumstances are actually perfectly in sync with what I want to talk about today. So I think one of the most important things we can all acknowledge is that change is a constant right now. Just last week, we had DeepSeek being released and suddenly challenging all of the preconceived notions that investors have about where generative AI is going, what are the important technologies to invest in, and so forth. And the truth is that all the challenges being proposed here today are, well, very important, ultimately just symptoms of a single fundamental need, which is that organizations need to transform themselves for an age of change, of generative AI, transforming the way that we do things. Because if you actually look at the technology today, at agents, the truth is that most of them are not ready to replace people wholesale. There's no such thing. It's really about finding the right combination of human expertise and generative AI. And so the way that we like to approach generative AI today is from a strategic perspective, trying to understand what are the objectives that we're trying to achieve, and co-creating together with our partners to understand what it is that they need to not just focus on today and building a solution of tomorrow, but building systems that are built for change, for anti-fragility, meaning systems that thrive and change, that are not just robust, but make sure that every failure, every challenge, whether in the market or within a specific use case, are turned into signals for the whole system and for the whole organization to change. And that's why we tackle not just the technological side, but also the organizational side, trying to understand how can we set up the right operating model to make sure that the teams are able to support generative AI use cases and practices. And so having helped organizations bring generative AI into practice, agents into practice, whatever you call it, we found that there are two core problems that are there time and time again across the use cases. Getting the right data at the right time and delivering the best user experience. And getting the right data at the right time is typically what you would call RAG. Getting the best user experience, well, we could call it agents, but sometimes the best user experience is not having experience at all, whether it's automation in the background or jumping in at the right moment to make sure that the output is correct, that the business process is still running in the right way. And so what we found is that those two problems can be solved
in an anti-fragile way, meaning ready for change, ready for disruption, by focusing on 4 capabilities. And those 4 capabilities are basically, translations of existing capabilities that many organizations have, but are not being explicitly handled or put into a team, focused on or developed to make sure that we can tackle those problems in the context of a quickly changing environment. Representation is about taking that data that you have today, that you want to employ in generative AI chatbots, in all kinds of interesting use cases, but the challenge is there that we're not in a static context. We have constantly changing product pages, FAQ pages, and we need to make sure that those are in line with the customer chatbots. So we need to actually build data products that are consumable by retrieval teams. Retrieval teams can focus on making sure that good data is there at the right time. And then once you're sure that you have the right data, that is correct, that is relevant for the user, you can focus on making sure that the experience of using that data is correct. And what I see time and time again is that engineering teams instead focus on implementing more and more agentic solutions, agentic algorithms to try to solve a problem that is really just about collaboration between teams and trying to understand the business problem. And so engagement and improvement tie it all together by using that data, by building the best experiences. And improvement is what really ties it all together to make sure that there is a continuous improvement process set up. And what does that look like? For example, a negative interaction with a customer chatbot where the user does not receive incomplete information means that there's a whole bunch of feedback that we can bring to the rest of the system, to the rest of the teams, to make sure that in the future that doesn't happen again, by making sure that we improve the way that our data is being handled, that the incomplete information is fixed, or that perhaps our search engine was not finding the correct information. In the beginning, that typically means setting up manual processes, trying to understand what are the actual processes in the company, what does the data look like, to then move towards more and more automations. And generative AI enables that. But most importantly, by taking this approach, a human and data-centric approach, you can build your own benchmarks, data that lasts through technological changes. Because the stack of today might not be a stack of tomorrow, but the data that you build, the contextual information that you have about what a successful experience looks like, that is the really important asset that will last beyond another new technology, whether it's DeepSeek replacing OpenAI or some other fundamental change. And so taking this approach, focusing on just these 2 problems with 4 capabilities is how we help customers build a large number of use cases with a fixed team. So we think that there is an ability to actually achieve true scalability, not by replacing people, but by combining people and AI at the right time. And this is the formula for getting that done. And so our message is essentially invest into change, invest into reorganizing your company, not just in technology. It's an organizational challenge, not a technological one. So let's work together and work on anti-fragile AI. Thank you.
Any questions? Very well done, even though you couldn't tell half of your faces.
Thank you.
So very well done. Any questions from the audience at the moment, or is everybody very anxious? That's always if you're last, of course.
That's okay. It's okay.
Anxious about the food. No more questions.
Maybe rough last words from my side. So we really keep it super short. We didn't explicitly added any use cases today. So, but we're not a strategic company. We're also a building company. But we prefer to share some of our experience and knowledge. Do reach out to us, and we'll be happy to also share some tangible examples that run in a company, outside, customer-facing, internal-facing. Of course, we try to be a partner in data and AI for a lot of companies. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. So, I would like to thank all the speakers that were here today and that pitched, and of course also the team from BNP Paribas Fortis to be here and everybody enthusiastic about listening to all these use cases. And I hope there's some there that you can work with in the future. We are looking forward to what's happening next with Fintech Belgium. We have our webinar coming up with Prime Services next month, which is specifically for grants and etc. for French-speaking companies. We have our bi-weekly breakfast coming up, and then we have an amazing event also coming up on the 20th together with Accenture. All of these are, of course, available on our website, and you can also subscribe to the Fintech Belgium calendar to see the events. Don't forget it though, if it's in your calendar, you still have to register. I want to thank the team as well for setting this up. As you know, Fintech Belgium has been active since 2016. We have over 135 members, of which 75 are Belgian, and we have a lot of amazing partners making this possible, such as, for instance, the project we have with the city of Antwerp. So I would like to thank them again as well, of course, for hosting us here at the Beacon. A small practical note as well on the meals. There are gluten-free, vegan, and vegetarian alternatives. So you just need to look at the little note that is on the food before you choose. And if there are no more urgent questions, then I would say let's get to networking, but also let's get to food. Thank you very much.